Hi, I'm Susie. So many of you while watching my videos have noticed that I use forms. I've used them my whole career, but there are tips out there and a lot of you are more familiar with the tips. I'm going to show you today the difference between tips and form application. Let's get started. The nice thing about being in business for so long is I've collected lots of stuff over the years and some I've never used, and now it's come in handy. So I went through my collection and I've actually got a good assortment of tips here that I can show you. I've put it on this black pad so you can see it here. I've got the clear, there's natural with a well, natural without the well, it's got the French tip, and the extreme white, which is very square. See that? How nice and square it is. That is more of a new style. They don't usually do that. And this one's a bit tapered. Okay, so which one will I use? You can see this one here. See this one with the well in the back? I particularly don't like these because when they put them on, I kind of think gluing a nail near the stress point is not the strongest method. And this is a very long well. So when that's on there, most of that is glue. And then when you put your acrylic on, it's only this part of the acrylic that's actually attached to the natural nail plate. So I like more of this style. I prefer to go for this shape here, which is, you can see that very strong C-curve smile line, right? And that, when you place it on there, now you've got a lot of the nail plate that you can put the acrylic on, and then the glue is just at the very tip of your finger and just the sides. I'm going to pick a clear tip because I'm going to use the baby boomer French technique that I did before, and that's what's underneath this polish. And the white would interfere with that color that I'm trying to create with a nice gentle fade. So I'm going to use a clear so it has the advantage that I can do a color on top and it won't have any color from the bottom coming through, okay? So when you're fitting a tip, my nails, by the way, I've taken them off and they're all naked, ready to go for you. And one I'll put a form on, and the other I'm going to show you a tip. Now, when sizing a tip, you look at these points here, and this smile line curve that goes in there like that. And what you're trying to do is fit it onto the tip. I'll show it for the sideways camera too, when you're fitting it on, okay? The idea is you want to put a little bit of glue under here or in the tip of your nail, and you want to fit it on and hold it ever so gently in the right angle. If you don't hold it in the right angle, it glues instantly. So you got to be on your game right away. If the glue sets and the tip is in the wrong angle, ooh, that ain't going to look good. Now when sizing, the higher the number, and you can see that little number, it's really, really tiny. It's on the underside of the tip of the nail. The lower the number, the bigger the size of the tip. This is number 2, this big one. And this one, as it gets smaller, this one's number 5. So I'm going to show you the difference. Number 2, fitting this index finger, you can see it's too big. See the corners? Just sits off way too far. This is a number 5. And I find it just a little bit too big. See how the sides go off like that? If you press it down, and you want to press it down in the center onto the tip here, you don't want a gap. You don't want the sides to attach and then have a gap there. See that? That would be awful. That has to touch on there. So the 5 is actually a little bit too big still. But the 6, I think, is going to fit quite nicely. So what I'm looking for, I'm holding it with my other finger so you can see, I'm making sure that this is lining up with my natural nail. Tips shrink a little bit, as all these products do. They shrink a little bit when they go on the nail. So the tip is better to be a little bit on the bigger side than fitting a smaller tip. You don't want to put a smaller tip on there because if it shrinks a little, then it's too small. So sometimes if you find when you're setting it on your nail and it's a little bit wider, you can take a bit of a file and you can just file the tips in a little bit just to bring the tip in like that on both sides. They're very easy to file, ever so gently, just to bring it up a little bit to fit. So here's my little glue, and the glue is like crazy glue, right? It glues really fast. I'm going to put a little bit of glue in the well. Now I find the less glue, the better the stick. It doesn't like to be doused in glue. Sometimes I will do this. It's easier sometimes to place it. More straight on gives you a better advantage. Okay, that's feeling pretty good. It's looking good. Just going to hold it down, make sure he's happy. Yeah. So just before you put your acrylic on, you need to buff the surface of this tip. Just as your natural nail was buff, you want to buff the tip. We're just taking away that shine. There we go. I'm going to make this the baby boomer French technique. That's what all my other nails are in underneath here. Now that you've got the tip buffed, you just start laying down your design. And in this case, it's the French baby boomer. Now I'm going to make these almond, so I'll shape them up later. I do it in 3 colors. I like the blend of the 3 color. And then I put a really nice blend of pink on the nail plate. Just a little quick tip, is you don't want any of your product to touch the skin. Now I'm going to show you the difference with the form. Okay, here's my form. And I'm really used to forms. Forms take a little bit more skill in using because it places under. Remember the tip placed on top of my nail plate? This is going to place under the nail plate. We're going to remove this when we're done. So you want to bend it, just like the tip was kind of bent and you've got that nice, this smile line in here. We're going to curve it a little bit. And we're just going to slide it under my natural nail, watching the hyponychium underneath. I've got really high ones. That's the little skin underneath the nail. It's a very sensitive area. You got to be careful about that. Now, as you can see, this form placement had the same flow as the tip as far as the arch goes. That's how my form is too. Okay. Making sure there's no gap, just like I made sure there was no gap with the tip. I'm going to do the same design as I just did with the tip. So again, essentially, these are the same outcome. We're just getting to it a little bit of a different way. Tips save the nail technician a few extra steps. If you're not trained on doing a form, a tip is a sure way to just kind of fill in the blanks for you. Just make sure I'm going to get these guys the same length. So it's the same process from here. I've put the form on and I'm just building the colors. I put the tip on and I just built my colors. They're essentially the same. Okay, just making sure I got my arch. Okay, there I go. Wait for these to dry and now I'm going to sculpt them. So I filed these up completely, these two. This is my favorite sculpting shaping file. These are 100 100s. They're great. So then I'm going to move it down to this one's a 180 to a 240. The higher the number, the softer the grit. By doing that higher number grit, the smoother it's going to get. And I'm really focusing around the cuticles because of the polish application. I want it to be nice and smooth. And then I'm going to go to my softest file. Okay, and now I'm going to oil these up. Okay. Just douse the cuticle with oil. And then massage it in, get rid of all the icky dust. Now before I polish, I wash my hands thoroughly to get rid of this oil and all the extra dust before I polish. So if the nail technician is doing a good job, the outcome should be the same. They should both be beautiful, whether you're using forms or tips. A choice between form or tips really is a nail technician's choice. I prefer the form because I can take a form and I can apply it to a natural nail of any condition, any shape. Whatever the natural nail is giving me, I can put a form on it. But a tip is a little bit more difficult to glue a tip to a natural nail if there's nothing there, or if it's misshaped, or if it's very uneven on the end. If there's nothing really to apply the tip to, you can't really do it. But a form, because you're going underneath, no matter what the natural nail plate is offering, you can put anything on top of it. A tip, you need something, a foundation to glue it to. You don't always have that. So it really is a nail technician's choice of which one that he or she prefers to put on you. Let's take a look at those reveal shots. So there you go, tips versus forms. Which one to choose? It's your nail tech's personal preference. Whatever you're looking for in a nail technician, look for good quality work. And they can get that by using forms or a tip, whatever their professional preference is. Talk to you soon.